Contrary to a popular belief, you don't need to squat to build big legs. Now, a lot of people say you need to do the hard stuff. The key with eggs is you want them to be pasture raised because that's gonna mean the chickens are out clucking all over the farm field, whereas they're gonna try to fool you. My legs are just filled with so much blood right now. It's crazy. It is sad, yet very true, that when it comes to getting your fitness results, it's about 80% nutrition and only about 20% training. Sad day, I know. But I'm going to show you my top staples when it comes to either breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can really have this at any time of the day that you want. It is that delicious to me, I think. So, first thing, got some pasture raised eggs. Now, the key with eggs is you want them to be pasture raised because that's gonna mean the chickens are out clucking all over the farm field, whereas they're gonna try to fool you if you say cage free. That means the door's open, but they might not always go outside. So that's a little tip for y'all. Next thing is I've been on some sweet potatoes and Japanese sweet potatoes. Now I like sweet potatoes because it doesn't rise your blood sugar as much, so it's gonna have a more natural, longer sustaining energy. Next thing is because the eggs, I usually have about 3 whole eggs. Because the eggs only have about 6 grams of proteins, I also add in a can of yellow thin tuna. It's just about 43 grams of protein per can. So that is already about 50 grams of proteins, if this is accurate. The world may never know, but I'm gonna roll with it. Next thing is, what I'll do is, if I don't have any of these tuna guys on hand, I'll add in some liquid egg whites. Next thing is, so you can either go 2 options. You can either do, I like to use a avocado or oil spray, or if you don't and you want to cook in butter, I highly recommend the Gold Brick. Now, Kerrygold Pure Irish Butter is grass-fed, so the cows are having the best diet and you're going to get the best nutrients out of that butter. So, little tip, if you see the Gold Brick, always get it, it'll lead you to the promised land. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook this up, guys, and then I'll check back with you in a bit. As you just saw right there, about 800 calories in this meal. I ended up adding a cup of oatmeal and a cup of probiotic and pasture raised whole milk just to get a little bit extra more calories because I got a heavy leg day coming up. But there's the oatmeal. We're gonna give it a shot. That's fire. Now, when I first started my fitness journey, I was so obsessed with tracking every little detail that it ended up just making it a big headache for me. And that's the goal. Eventually you want to get to the point where you don't have to track. You can sit there and look at a meal and be able to tell how much calories are in the meal. Now, if you're gonna be a pro bodybuilder, then I highly suggest tracking because you need to win the show, so you need to be dialed in completely. But that is my philosophy on nutrition. You should get to the point where you know exactly from an eyeball view of how much you need and how much is in that meal. I'm gonna finish this meal up and then check back in with you guys at the gym for the best exercises that I have found have grown my legs over the years. First thing we're gonna do before we get into the actual workout is we're gonna do some mobility. Now, there are a bunch of different forms of warm-up. You got the bike, elliptical treadmill, you got a rower, but what I found personally works best for me is doing some mobility. It's kind of like yoga, but on a steroid version. It's a very active form of stretching, really trying to improve the range of motion. It'll help your joints improve and it'll just help your body feel better. Because what I found when I just did things like the bike, just to get my body's core temperature up, my body would still feel like absolute trash. So we're gonna do some mobility, warm up. We're gonna start from the ground up, get the ankles, knees, quads, hamstrings, glutes all warmed up and firing before we get into our first exercise. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get the ankles nice and loosened up. Think of it like the house. If you don't have a solid foundation, the house is gonna come crashing down, and you wanna make sure your ankles are nice and loose because everything starts from the ground up. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take these shoes, throw them out. So I will preface this with, if you're really tight in the quads, you're gonna feel this. So right here, and all you're just gonna do, just sit back. I do this pretty much every day, so that's why I'm able to get my glutes down to my heels. But if you're first starting out, it's gonna hurt. Just wiggle on around until you feel nice and loose. Right here, my quads are always extremely tight, so I'm feeling a nice quad stretch. Next thing is we're gonna get our glutes nice and warmed up. So you're gonna come into a pigeon, and what I found to really get that deep stretch, instead of just sinking back in a straight line, what you really wanna do is take this glute, shoot it back at an angle, and you're gonna feel a nice stretch right in that big glute muscle of yours, just pumping it. I usually say do these about 15, 20 times. When you're in this stretch position, you really want to flex that glute as hard as you can. That'll get the muscle firing. It's a combo. It's going to hit your hip flexors, hamstrings at the same time. So coming into a lunge, and you're going to come back. You're going to feel a big stretch in this hamstring. Drive the glute and hip into the floor right in front of you. Squeeze. They're called fire hydrants. You want to make sure knees in line with the hip, straight line down, hands in line with the shoulders. And you're just going to imagine you're like a little doggy going to the bathroom on a fire hydrant. Squeeze this glute. Body stable. You're trying to drive up as far as you can without turning. Obviously, a little turn is okay, but you don't want to be excessive with it. Just open up the body just a little bit. And that's gonna burn. I think April came early because April Fools, I'm actually gonna add one more. Now, I was sitting here thinking, a lot of times I see people when they do the squat form, it's absolutely terrible. People can't even get parallel. So you're gonna include this little deep squat into the last part of your mobility warm-up routine. And take this pole, maybe some denominations of money will pop up if you imagine. But you're gonna do assisted deep squats. So you're gonna keep chest up. And you're really gonna work on sitting as deep as you can. You're gonna hold for a second. You wanna make sure you keep nice and tall chest, flat back. And as you come up, you're gonna keep these knees in a stable position. You don't wanna stripper squat. We're not shaking the glutes. Coming up nice and slow. You really wanna make it burn. Only come up 90%. And you're gonna repeat About 10 reps. First exercise we're going to start with is some seated hamstring curls. You can do lying hamstring curls, RDLs, but I found that seated hamstring curls works best because I can really get those hamstrings firing, and it also has helped with my knee pain because I've torn my knee multiple times. So if I don't get the hamstrings warmed up before I squat, I really feel it, and my knee lets me know, hey buddy, go get those hamstrings warmed up. So what I typically do is I start out with 15 reps, then go to 12, and then go to 3 sets of 10, going down in reps, but going up in weight, and just get those hamstrings nice and warmed up. Setup wise, you want to take the hamstrings through a full range of motion. A common mistake, people will go up too high to where it hyperextends their knee down. That's going to hurt the knee, so you want to keep full straight leg without extending the knees down. You keep your knee nice and happy. What really gets those hamstrings firing is if you sit up into your hips, it's gonna burn. Oh, it burns. Alright guys, if you're not struggling, getting out of it, you didn't fire them enough. Now what I'll typically do on my first leg day is I'll start with a seated hamstring, and then the second day I'll go more to a dumbbell RDL, kind of what I'm feeling that day and doing, but that's typically the breakdown of how I warm up my hamstrings. Now, if you're anything like me, you deal with consistent and nagging knee pain on a daily basis, so unbearable that you ask yourself every day, man, when is this knee pain gonna go away? I know the feeling, which is why I have decided to team up with the company Hydra Gun. This is not an ad or a sponsor video, but I have managed to get a checkout link for you guys to use that will be able to help you guys save some dollars to make you holler. What this is called the Heat Pulse 2. It's used by physical therapists, chiropractors, and even pro athletes around the world. The packaging was the first thing I noticed, was very sleek, very cool to see how much of thought went into the packaging. It's very well designed. It's used for arthritis, knee strains, post-surgery recovery, even if you get knee pain from high impact sport. It uses a soothing heat and a steady vibration to help you with long-lasting relief from tightness, soreness, stiffness, and even pain. The control pod has 7 temperature settings ranging from 104 to 158 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you want to jack that baby up to max heat, it's got you covered. If you don't, you can do that as well. And the vibration has a low, medium, and high intensity, so you can choose how intense you want it to be. And this will help you get new blood flow into the knee for a faster knee recovery. I have used this multiple times for the past 2 months. It has become a daily regimen of mine to help keep my knee pain at bay. If this is something you might be interested in taking advantage of, first checkout link in the description to help you save some money. Back to the video. Contrary to a popular belief, you don't need to squat to build big legs. Now it's cool if you do, it's flashy. It's kind of like telling a girl that you just met that you have a sick collection of Jordans and jewelry, but it's not gonna be the only way to her heart. So the moment I started implementing leg press into my training, or even hack squats, is when my legs actually blew up. And also with barbell squats, it's a very dangerous exercise. You can't go full out failure on them because it's gonna fatigue your back, and there's just a lot of things that go into it. Whereas on a leg press, you're in one plane of motion. It's a very safe exercise. So if you got a bad back, I would not do a barbell squat, because when the barbell sits on your traps, it's creating a lot of spinal pressure, only exacerbating the problem. Now, back in the day, I used to train heavy leg press, reps of like 4, 5, and 6, but I really got nowhere with it. The moment I started increasing the volume, so high sets, high reps, today we're doing 6 sets of 12 reps, I found that I've got the most growth out of the leg press. First couple sets are gonna be easy, and towards the end, it's gonna burn, and I'm gonna feel like throwing up. It's gonna burn that bad. Now, a lot of people say you need to do the hard stuff, which I totally agree with. If you're never challenging yourself mentally, you're never gonna progress in life. That goes with your physique, that goes with mindset, that goes with just improving your life overall. You need to do the hard things every day to ultimately improve your life and get to that dream life that you wanna create for yourself.
Guys, little tip, if you almost don't follow like that, you need to up the reps. Or do that. I'm gonna say what you're gonna say, you need to up the weight, push harder. Third exercise, we're gonna target our glutes with the barbell hip thrust. Now, if I can attribute any exercise to why my girlfriend loves to poke my butt all the time, it's because of these hip thrusts. Goal here, we're gonna go heavy, build nice strong glutes. The benefit of this also is because if you always get back pain, your glutes might not be strong enough. So the goal here is to do 3 sets of 6 reps. Common thing on this exercise is you want your upper back up on the pad, and you want a 90-degree angle. You're gonna drive the knees forward. It's gonna really get into the hamstrings, lower part of the glutes. Keep your chin tucked, abs tight, so you don't feel anything in your back. You're just gonna thrust, man. Guys, big thing I don't see enough of is that people are always cutting the exercise short with their range. They may be only doing the top portion or the bottom portion. I'm a big proponent of taking the muscle through a full range of motion, really maximizing each range. My camera battery died, so I'm gonna bring you guys the last exercise on my iPhone. So if the quality is a little less than what you've been seeing, that's why. But we're gonna burn out the quads with the leg extension. Love burning the quads with this exercise and putting it at the end of the workout. So reps and sets, 3 sets of 15 reps, high reps, fill the blood, and I got a little surprise for y'all at the end of each set. Big tip on here, when you get to the top, do not straighten your knees out all the way. Keep a slight bend in the knee, that's gonna keep pressure off the knee joint. Squeeze the top for about a good 1.5 seconds. And when you get to the end, you're gonna keep feet in here, sit into your hips. It's gonna really constrict these quads, and it's gonna be a very intense feeling as long as you're flexing the quads. About a 10-second flex. Going back into it. My legs are just filled with so much blood right now. It's crazy. There's like very little definition from how much they're filled. There you have it, guys. That is a pretty standard day for my nutrition and workouts. I really don't deviate much from what you saw. Over the years, I've experimented with a bunch of different things in nutrition, and I found that works best for me is keeping things efficient, simple, and quick. I like to be in and out of the kitchen within an hour. Just fits well with my lifestyle. As far as the workouts, you may be asking, why does this only do 4 exercises? It doesn't need to do like 6, 7, 8 exercises to get growth. And to be honest, guys, the fitness industry has done a brilliant job of fooling you that you need to hammer in all this volume, when that is just not the case at all. Especially when you're a natural athlete, you're not taking any performance enhancers. Your body cannot handle that much volume. In the moment I reduced my volume down to only 3 to 4 exercises, just a core group of exercises to master, I really noticed that's when my body made a bunch of improvements in terms of strength, hypertrophy, muscle growth, everything. So that's going to conclude today's video. If you enjoyed the video, comment what you would like to see next in terms of workouts, and I'll see you guys in the next one.